Right now, Miss America is an Indian woman. That's when you know you're hot, when you're winning other countries' competitions. Stunning, next level, beautiful Indian woman. Everything about them. Until you get here, and then... I don't know what happened because, hey, it's tough here, eh? Because Indian girls get skinny, like they got like these, super skinny, and then they got big knees, and look like a brown flamingo. It's just like, you're like, no man, how do you? Because they're so hot, but then the legs, it just looks like a long distance runner or something. It's like Miss Universe and then Haile Selassie. It's just, wow. No man, why? It's just, it's not my cup of biryani, man. It's just, there's balance, but they're still beautiful. All women can be beautiful. Oh, there's no most beautiful. I mean, you look at colored women. Are you kidding me? Colored women? What? Colored women are beautiful. Beautiful. And dangerous. Colored women are like blood diamonds. You want them, but you might not get out alive, eh? Because they've got something they've got the right mix, the right features. They just got that thing. Oh! And you know what I love about colored women? It's the fact that they're faithful. They are so faithful to their men. When they say, till death do us part, they mean it. But it's your death. Because you don't leave a colored woman. You be like, I'm leaving you. You leaving this earth? Ooh, Yana. So there's a balance. But still beautiful. All women can be beautiful. Black woman. I'm willing to bet South Africa has by far the most beautiful black woman in the world. In the world. Stunners, great bodies, great vibe. They know how to dance. They've got culture about them. They're beautiful. Yeah, they might not love their hair, but they make up for it in other places. Gerard, have you ever, Never dabbled in the quota system, Never. Because you see, Gerard, there's something that a black woman will give you that no other woman can. No other woman. And that's ass. But I mean ass, Gerard. Not just, I mean ass. Black women have ass. Beautiful ass. Life-changing ass. No other race has that. None. Indian women don't have ass. No. Colored women will have a bit here and there. White women have got flat asses. Just like, there's nothing there. It just goes flat. Some of them, it's even worse. It goes in. Have you seen that? What the hell is that? It's like anti-ass. It goes the other way. Looks like the Apple logo. What the hell happened there? And then they insist on wearing those costumes, and they'll be at the beach walking around. Hey boys, hi boys, ha. And then the costume, they turn around, but then it's just hanging because there's nothing to hold on to. You see the costume is panicking like, there's no support structure. The costume just hangs. And then they come out the water, and then the beach sand gets caught on the costume. Have you seen that? Yeah, and then it looks like they've shat themselves. Hi boys, ha. And you're like, lo muntu skakele, man. One ass, man. The legs, but have something. White women just don't have ass. Well, not all white women. I must qualify this. Not all white women, because Afrikaans girls, hello. Those Lizzles and Marikis. I've seen some ass on Afrikaans girls. Like proper, like almost black ass, basically. It's so ironic. I think God did it on purpose, just to punish their dads for apartheid. Just like, bah! This will bring you together. Stunners. But there's nothing like black ass, real black ass. And I know a lot of guys are scared, Gerard. I know a lot of guys. A lot of guys are like, but you know what, Trev, I want a black woman, but that ass sometimes. Like, it's just very like, I mean, like, how do you handle it, How do you handle it? And that's the thing. You don't handle it. It handles you. Yeah, just get in there. Let it do its thing, like autopilot. So just, And some guys go, but my problem is it's just too big for me, It's just, no. There's a difference between big and black. You got to understand that. Black is about shape. Yeah. There's a big difference. People don't get it. Because like white girls, a lot of them will have those sad asses. Just like, oh. Whereas black girls, they fill the underwear out. See it, stretch the fabric, make it smile. It's all about the shape. I don't like big. I won't lie. I like medium to small, you know? That's me. Medium to small and firm, but not too firm. Sometimes it gets too firm, it's scary, you know? Yeah, it'll hurt you. You spank it, it'll spank you right back. Just getting like, pa, pa, whoo. Whoo. That's me though. Oh. Some guys like it big, and I know why, because it's fun. It's fun, it's got a rhythm, it's juicy, you know? You can get lost in that. Oh, yeah, I've seen that. You just give it a spank, you see that little wave that goes to the other side. Ooh. If you're fast enough, you can catch the wave on the other side. Pa! 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 Oh! She'll be there like, 15, love. Ah! All women can be beautiful. Get that out of your mind. Explore a little bit. Most beautiful race. No such thing. All women. That's the only reason I can't be gay, just because there's too many beautiful women. And I know gay is not a choice, it's an orientation, but I've thought of choosing it before. Yeah, I have. Because you know why? Gay's efficient. Gay gets straight to the point. Women take up too much of your time. Women are stressful. Women don't think you are, but you're super stressful. Guys, you have a good time with guys. I like guys. Guys like me. We have a good time hanging out. Yeah. When guys are sitting watching sports, you never see two guys look at each other and the one goes, you know, sometimes I feel like I'm not even here. Guys never do that. I've thought of it. I thought, hey, Trevor, why not be gay? The only problem is I don't find men attractive. That's the only reason. Otherwise, I'd be in there. Yeah, party time all the time. Yeah, but I couldn't, you know, because gay is efficient. Gay is efficient and successful. A lot of people don't think of it, but they are. Most successful people on the planet. You never see a gay beggar, huh? Do you? Oh, that's true. Where have you ever seen gay homeless people? Ever? Eh? Have you ever been at the traffic lights and seen a gay guy walking down? Never seen that. Gay is successful because it's focused and efficient. All the greatest leaders of our time, all the greatest dictators, all those who conquered were gay. Yeah, all of them. Think about them. The Genghis Khans, yes. All of those guys were gay. Yeah. Attila the Hun, the stories of them being gay. They basically had slaves that they had sex with, male slaves. Alexander the Great conquered half of Europe and Asia. He too was gay. All of these stories, all of them. Julius Caesar, the Roman Empire, they were gay. And it was normal then. I mean, they didn't even wear pants. You knew these things. Yeah. Anytime is tea time there. Yeah. And you know it's gay. It's just history. You know, it loses it over time. It gets lost in translation. But you know Julius Caesar was gay. Because you read the story. What happened that one fateful night? He was surrounded by a group of men. When all of a sudden, he was stabbed from behind. That's gay. And you know it's gay, because if I was getting stabbed, the last thing I'd do is turn around and say, you too, Brutus. It's gay. Gay and powerful, gay and successful, all of them, yeah. Shaka Zulu was gay, yeah. Oh, Trevor, Baba, too soon, Baba, hey, too soon. What's wrong with Shaka being gay? He was a powerful, successful man. There's nothing wrong with being gay. And Shaka was probably gay. You look at all the things that led to it, all the things that showed. Huh? The dress code or the undress code of his soldiers. All of his soldiers, Shaka demanded, had a six-pack, leopard skin, ass out. Shaka did everything with these men. In fact, Shaka would go on long trips with his soldiers. No women allowed. And on these retreats, he would preach to them. He would tell his soldiers, do not seek the love of a woman, for it'll make you weak. If you want to be strong, seek the love of your fellow man. Shaka never married. Shaka never loved a woman other than his mother. And Shaka Zulu, he was gay. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. People go, Trevor, he was strong, he's not gay. Yeah, gay doesn't mean weak. No, it doesn't. Shaka did everything in a gay way. He was the first military dictator to develop the oxbow technique. Remember that? He defeated the British by distracting them from the front, flanking their sides, and penetrating from behind. You're like, Trevor, he's not gay. Oh, if he wasn't gay, how can you not be gay when you march into battle and your theme song is bum 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 bum. How many clues do you need, people? When they would march into battle, what was the Zulu war cry? Niaba sabana, hai asiwasabi siyabafuna. Which sounds scary. Yeah. Even colored people will be like, okay, brother, okay, now we can talk about it, brother, we can talk about it. Yeah, we can talk about it. Yeah. Sounds scary until you translate it. And then you realize what these men were shouting at the beginning of every battle as they looked into the enemy's eyes was, are you afraid of these men? No, we are not afraid. We want them. Bum, 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 bum. Well, you guys have been fantastic, Johannesburg. Thanks for coming out. I had a great time.
All right, so I just watched this clip of Trevor Noah talking about how Miss America is an Indian woman. And man, this is comedy gold mixed with social commentary that actually makes you think. Like, this is what Trevor does best. He takes a cultural moment that reveals something deeper about society and breaks it down in a way that's hilarious but also illuminating. This is why he was such a perfect fit for The Daily Show, because he can make you laugh while also making you uncomfortable in the best possible way. So let me set the context here for anyone who might not remember. There was this Miss America pageant, and the winner was Nina Davalori, who is Indian American. She was born in New York, grew up in America, as American as anyone else born in this country. But the moment she won, social media absolutely exploded with racist comments, with people saying she shouldn't have won because she's not American enough, with people confusing Indians with Arabs, with people making comments about terrorism, with people just revealing the absolute worst of America's xenophobia and ignorance. And Trevor Noah, who's uniquely positioned to comment on this as someone who's not originally from America, but has lived here and observed American culture with an outsider's perspective, just dissects this whole situation brilliantly. He starts by pointing out the absurdity of the criticism, the contradiction inherent in having a competition called Miss America that's supposed to celebrate American ideals, and then attacking the winner for not looking like what some people think Americans should look like. Trevor does this thing where he mimics the people who are upset, and you can hear the ridiculousness of their position when it's laid out clearly. They're essentially saying that America, a nation literally built by immigrants, a nation that has "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses" inscribed on the Statue of Liberty, a nation that prides itself on being a melting pot, should only be represented by people who look a certain way. And when you state it that plainly, you can see how absurd it is. But Trevor goes deeper than just pointing out the obvious racism. He starts unpacking what this reaction reveals about American identity and the ongoing struggle over what it means to be American. And this is where it gets really interesting, because Trevor's bringing his South African perspective to bear on American issues, and that outside perspective allows him to see things that Americans who are embedded in the culture might miss. He talks about how America has this fascinating contradiction at its core. On the one hand, it's a nation founded on Enlightenment principles of universal human rights, of equality, of judging people by their character rather than their circumstances of birth. The founding documents talk about all men being created equal, about inalienable rights, about a more perfect union. The mythology of America is about transcending your origins, about reinventing yourself, about anyone being able to become American. But on the other hand, America has always struggled with exclusion, with defining who really counts as American, with maintaining hierarchies based on race, ethnicity, religion, and national origin. From the very beginning, when all men are created equal, didn't include enslaved people, or women, or indigenous people, or non-property owners. America has been working out the tension between its stated ideals and its actual practices. Trevor points out that this Miss America controversy is just the latest iteration of this ongoing tension. Every generation has its version of this fight. In the past, it was about whether Irish immigrants could really be American, whether Italian immigrants could really be American, whether Catholic immigrants could really be American, whether Jewish immigrants could really be American. And each time, there were people insisting that these new groups were incompatible with American identity, that they would never truly assimilate, that they threatened the real America. And each time, those fears proved to be unfounded. The Irish became American. The Italians became American. The Catholics became American. The Jews became American, not by erasing their heritage, but by adding it to the American mix, by contributing their culture and traditions to the broader American culture, by proving that American identity is expansive enough to include multiple ways of being American. But Trevor notes that we keep having this same argument, just with different groups. Now it's Indians, Muslims, Latinos, Asians, who are being told they're not really American, that they don't belong, that they're somehow diluting or threatening authentic American identity. And Trevor asks the obvious question: when do we learn? When do we recognize this pattern and stop repeating it? He does this brilliant bit about how if you actually look at American history, the people who are most insecure about American identity, most likely to police who counts as a real American, are often not the people who've been here the longest. The indigenous peoples who were here for thousands of years before Europeans arrived aren't the ones complaining about immigrants. They're probably sitting back thinking, oh, now you care about people coming into the country uninvited. Trevor also highlights the particular irony of criticizing an Indian woman for not being American enough, when Indians have been immigrating to America and contributing to American society for generations. Indian Americans are doctors, engineers, teachers, business owners, scientists, artists. They're part of the fabric of American life. And yet, because of how they look, because of their names, because of their heritage, they're still treated as perpetual foreigners by some people. He talks about the model minority myth and how it plays into this. Indian Americans and Asian Americans more broadly are often held up as model minorities, as proof that immigrants can succeed in America if they just work hard enough. But this myth is weaponized against other minority groups, and also creates its own problems for Asian Americans, who are still seen as foreign, still face discrimination, still aren't fully accepted as American despite their success. And Trevor points out that this myth also ignores the diversity within these communities. Not all Indian Americans are doctors and engineers. Not all Asian Americans are wealthy and successful. These are diverse communities, with people at all levels of society. But the stereotypes flatten them into one-dimensional caricatures. The Miss America controversy, Trevor suggests, reveals how American identity is still racialized for many people. Despite all the talk about being a post-racial society, despite all the progress that's been made, there are still significant portions of the American population who equate being American with being white. And when someone who doesn't fit that narrow definition succeeds or is celebrated, it triggers this defensive reaction. Trevor does this whole riff on the comments Nina Davalori received, and he's not just making fun of them, though he is doing that because they deserve to be mocked. He's also analyzing what they reveal. He points out that many of the comments confused Indians with Arabs, confused Hinduism with Islam, revealed a profound ignorance about world geography, religion, and culture. And this ignorance isn't just unfortunate. It's dangerous, because it leads to discrimination, to violence, to unjust policies. He talks about how after 9/11, hate crimes against anyone who looked Muslim increased dramatically, including against Sikhs who wear turbans, against Indians, against anyone with brown skin. The ignorance that can't distinguish between different ethnicities, religions, and nationalities leads to innocent people being targeted. And the Miss America backlash was a microcosm of this larger problem. But Trevor also finds hope in the story. He points out that for every racist comment, there were many more people defending Nina Davalori, celebrating her win, pushing back against the racism. He notes that the official Miss America organization stood by her, that mainstream media covered the racist backlash critically, that American society as a whole seems to be moving in a more inclusive direction, even as pockets of resistance remain. Trevor talks about generational change and how younger Americans are more comfortable with diversity, more likely to have friends from different backgrounds, more likely to see American identity as multicultural. He suggests that these controversies are in some ways the death throes of an older way of thinking, the last gasps of a worldview that can't accept the reality of modern America. He does this funny bit about how people need to update their mental image of what an American looks like. Because if your default image of an American is someone who looks like they could be in a Norman Rockwell painting, you're operating with outdated software. Modern America is Indian Americans and Mexican Americans and African Americans and Asian Americans and Arab Americans and every other hyphenated American, all of whom are just as American as anyone whose ancestors came over on the Mayflower. Trevor also addresses the term Indian American itself and the whole concept of hyphenated identities. He talks about how these hyphenated identities are sometimes criticized as suggesting divided loyalties, as implying that these people aren't fully American. But Trevor argues that hyphenated identities are actually perfectly American. They represent the reality that most Americans have multiple aspects to their identity, that you can be fully American while also maintaining connections to your heritage, that identity is complex and multifaceted. He shares his own experience as a South African who became an American citizen, talking about how he doesn't feel like he had to give up being South African to become American. He contains multitudes. And that's okay. That's actually beautiful. That's actually what makes America interesting and dynamic and culturally rich. Trevor then pivots to talking about what Miss America as an institution represents. And this is interesting, because beauty pageants are themselves controversial and have their own complicated relationship with American values. He jokes about how we have this competition where we judge women primarily on their appearance, make them parade around in swimsuits, and then ask them questions about world peace to pretend it's not just about looks. And yet this institution, that's in many ways retrograde and sexist, also becomes a site where we have important conversations about American identity, about inclusion, about what it means to represent America. He suggests that maybe the controversy around Nina Davalori winning Miss America is actually progress in a weird way. It forces the conversation about who gets to be American, who gets to represent America, what American identity means in the 21st century. And by having that conversation in the context of something as mainstream and visible as Miss America, it reaches people who might not otherwise engage with these issues. Trevor also talks about the talent portion of Miss America, and how Nina Davalori performed a Bollywood dance, incorporating her Indian heritage into her performance. And some people criticize this, saying that if she wants to be Miss America, she should perform something American. But Trevor flips this and asks, what's more American than bringing your cultural heritage to the table and sharing it with everyone? What's more American than saying, this is part of who I am, and I'm going to celebrate it rather than hide it? He does this bit about how American culture is actually a collection of things from everywhere else. Pizza, Italian. Tacos, Mexican. Hamburgers, German. Jazz, African-American creation from African roots. Hip-hop, same. The most American things are often things that came from somewhere else and were adapted, adopted, and transformed in the American context. So a Bollywood dance is just as American as anything else once it's being performed by an American in America. Trevor also addresses the class dimensions of this controversy. He notes that Nina Davalori is educated, accomplished, clearly from a family that's done well in America. And yet she still faces this racism, this questioning of her American identity. This shows that for people of color, no amount of achievement, no amount of assimilation, no amount of success fully shields you from racism. You can be Miss America and still have people question whether you belong. He talks about the burden this places on people of color, particularly immigrants and children of immigrants, who often feel they have to be twice as good to get half the recognition, who have to constantly prove their Americanness, who are never allowed to just exist without their identity being questioned. And Trevor, as someone who went through the immigration process, who knows what it's like to be viewed as an outsider, speaks to this with real empathy and understanding. But Trevor also celebrates the resilience and grace with which Nina Davuluri handled the situation. She didn't let the racist attacks define her experience or diminish her accomplishment. She used her platform to speak about diversity, about her pride in her Indian heritage, about her love for America. She embodied the best of what it means to be American, maintaining your cultural identity while embracing your American identity, refusing to be diminished by bigotry, representing your country with dignity and grace. Trevor draws parallels to his own experience becoming an American citizen and what that meant to him. He talks about how America, despite its flaws, despite its ongoing struggles with racism and inequality, still represents something important. The idea that you can reinvent yourself, that you're not bound by where you came from, that you can write your own story. And that idea, that promise, is worth celebrating and defending, even as we acknowledge the ways America often falls short of its ideals. He also talks about the responsibility that comes with American identity, particularly for people who have platforms and visibility. If you're Miss America, if you're a Daily Show host, if you're in any position where people are paying attention to you, you have an opportunity to shape narratives, to challenge stereotypes, to push society toward its better angels. And that's not always easy or comfortable, but it's important.